Today, we give thanks to the great Jehovah God who is in heaven, our Father, the one who made and created the world and everything in it. We must all bow down to him and recognize that he is God, in spite of what we do not believe according to his will and according to his word. And I want to just bless you today, Sister Carolyn Carter, because you asked one of the greatest questions unto the world, and the world should be given an answer, because our souls are at stake. And you continue doing the will of God in your teaching and trying to inspire, trying to share Jesus Christ unto a dying and a perishing world. People often say, you said within your question, why do Church of Christ members always say and teach and believe that they're the only ones going to heaven? When you read the Bible, not only do Church of Christ members say that, it's what the Bible teach. You read in the Bible, you find different things that God had said within his word and within his will and within his way. But what if some don't believe? You read Romans chapter 3. Paul, he spoke to the church at Rome. He said to them, but what if some don't believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid. Yea, let God be true, and every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy saying, and that thou might overcome when thou art judged. So let us continue saying what the Lord has said in his word. Let us continue telling the world the truth, that Jesus Christ, he built only one church. This is the stone. You read Acts chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. This is the stone that the builders rejected. The builders were the scribes, the Pharisees, the elders, the chief priests, all of these different rulers. They rejected the counsel of Christ, and they held to their own tradition. But then he said unto the church, neither is there salvation in any other, but there is no other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Only in Christ is there salvation. You cannot find salvation in any other. You read 1 Peter 4. Peter, he talks about the suffering of Christ. He talks about we suffering even for his name and for his cause. He says, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if the judgment first begin here at us, what shall the end be of those who obey not the gospel? You answer that question for yourself. Read Psalm 127 and 1. The Bible tells us, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain. When Jesus said upon this rock, Matthew 16:18, I will build my church. The Lord promised to build his church. He didn't promise to build any other. He built his up on the day of Pentecost, Acts chapter 2. Read the Bible. It's in there. And ever since the Lord promised that he would build his church, men have been running all over this world, building what they call churches. But except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. Psalm 127, verses 1 and 2. Lord, help us in your word. Keep us in your will. Keep us in your way. In Jesus'